We've all gotten pretty used to AI living inside our screens. It's the thing that writes our emails, generates wild images, basically our digital sidekick. But what happens when that AI gets up and walks out of the computer? That's what we're diving into today. What happens when AI gets a body?
And really, that's the big question here, isn't it? It sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, but it's becoming our reality, fast. What happens when an intelligence that can learn and reason on its own is suddenly given arms and legs and the ability to physically act in our world?
Okay, let's break this down. Because before we get into all the crazy opportunities and, the very real dangers, we all need to be on the same page. What exactly is this new kind of AI we're talking about?
Think about it like this. On one hand, you've got the brawn. These are your classic robots, right? The massive arms you see in a car factory. Super strong, super precise, but let's be real, they're not winning any chess games. They do one task, over and over again. Then, on the other hand, you have the brains. This is the AI we know and use every day, the chatbots that can write a poem or debug code. All mind, but completely stuck in the digital world. No body.
And here's where it all clicks into place. Embodied AI is what happens when you smash those two things together. It's the moment we plug that incredibly smart AI brain into a really capable robot body. And this isn't some pie-in-the-sky idea for the future. I mean, we're already seeing the beginnings of it all around us. Self-driving cars, super advanced drones, and, those kind of creepy but amazing humanoid robots that are all over the internet.
So if there's one thing to get, it's this. Embodied AI, or EAI for short, doesn't just think, it acts. It can see the world, understand it, and then physically do things in it. The source material we're digging into today makes this incredible point. We might be on the verge of a ChatGPT moment for robotics. You remember how ChatGPT just exploded onto the scene, and it felt like it came out of nowhere and was suddenly 1,000,000 times better than anything before it? Now imagine that exact same leap, but for physical robots.
And with a leap that big, well, that comes with a whole new world of risk. Because let's face it, when an AI can actually cause physical damage, the stakes are suddenly so much higher.
So where do we even start with untangling all this? Honestly, the source material gives us a super helpful way to think about it. It breaks down the risks into 4 big categories, kind of like a roadmap for what we need to worry about: physical, informational, economic, and social risks. Let's tackle them one by one.
All right, first up, the one that's probably on everyone's mind: physical harm. We've all seen people jailbreak chatbots to get them to say wild stuff. Now just picture jailbreaking a robot to do wild stuff. The potential for purposeful harm is, well, it's pretty scary. But then there's just plain old accidental harm. There's this thing engineers call the reality gap. It's the huge difference between a perfect computer simulation and the messy, chaotic real world. A robot might work flawlessly 1,000 times in the lab, but do something totally unpredictable out on a busy sidewalk. And of course, things just break. A motor fails, a sensor glitches, but now you have an intelligent system trying to compensate, and that can lead to a whole other level of danger.
Okay, next category: informational risks. Look, if you think your phone is a privacy nightmare, just wait. Imagine a device that can physically follow you around your own home, listening and watching. We're talking about surveillance on a scale we've never seen before. And what about misinformation? You know how AIs sometimes hallucinate and just make stuff up? Well, that stops being just a weird paragraph of text on a screen. A hallucination becomes physically grounded. It's a robot making a false claim about the physical world and then acting on it. It could misidentify someone or something and do the absolute wrong thing with very real consequences.
Then there's the economic fallout, which could be massive. Up until now, AI was mostly automating thinking jobs, writing, coding, analyzing data. But embodied AI comes for the doing jobs. We're talking about a huge range of physical tasks, everything from manufacturing and logistics to agriculture and even elder care. The sheer scale of potential labor displacement is staggering, and it leads to this really fundamental question about our society. What happens when the power to do physical work concentrates in the hands of the very few people who own these massive fleets of autonomous robots? And finally, this all hits our social fabric. We talk a lot about bias in algorithms, but when that bias is in a robot making physical decisions in the world, the consequences are immediate and sometimes irreversible. But maybe the trickiest problem of all is liability. The source we're looking at poses the perfect example. An autonomous robot surgeon makes a mistake and a patient dies. Who's to blame? The surgeon who supervised it? The hospital? The company that built the robot? The AI developer? Our entire legal system just doesn't have an answer for that. And that's not even getting into the really weird stuff, like people forming deep emotional attachments to their robots, or us just forgetting how to do basic human skills because we've outsourced everything.
So we've laid out these 4 massive categories of risk. You'd think we'd have some rules for this, right? Well, when you actually go looking for laws and regulations to handle these things, you find pretty much nothing. It's a total policy vacuum.
And this chart just makes it painfully clear. You can see the pattern, right? For physical risks, sure, we have rules for a robot that's bolted to a factory floor, but we have nothing for a general-purpose robot that can just wander down a public street. For information risks, our privacy laws like GDPR were designed for websites and apps, not for a mobile sensor platform that's walking through your living room. And for the big economic and social risks, the rule book is basically empty. We are always regulating the last generation of technology, while the next one is already walking out the door.
Okay, I know that sounds pretty bleak. It's easy to look at all this and feel like we're totally unprepared. But here's the good news. It's not a lost cause. The very same research that points out all these dangers also gives us a clear path forward. There's actually a blueprint for how we can build a safer future with this tech.
And it boils down to 4 key steps. First, invest in safety. We need to get serious about creating new ways to test and evaluate these systems before they're out in the world. Second, mandate certification. No AI system should be allowed to operate in public without passing tough safety standards. It should come with what's called a model card. Think of it like a nutrition label for AI that clearly states its capabilities and limitations. Third, clarify liability. We have to create new laws that figure out who is responsible when things go wrong. And finally, number 4, prepare for the transformation. We need to start building the policies and social safety nets to handle massive labor shifts, and we need to do it now, not after the fact.
So that's where we are. We're standing at this incredible turning point. The tech to give AI a body isn't science fiction anymore, it's happening. And it leaves us staring down one of the biggest questions of our lifetime. We're about to give AI a body. How do we make absolutely sure it uses that body to build a better world and not a broken one?